Alright, so in honor of 3,000 subscribers on this channel, which is so exciting, a year ago I had 0. So being at 3,000 now is super exciting. I'm doing a Q&A for some of the biggest questions I get about marine biology, how to get started, and just some of the most common questions for getting involved and all the things that I get on my channel. I get questions from people all around the world about things that I do on my channel and things that I have done in the past. So I wanted to kind of talk about some of the biggest things that people have been asking me. So I came up with a list of some of those really common questions, and I'm going to be answering some of them now. And before I start, I wanted to acknowledge that a lot of these answers, all of these answers, are just based on my personal experience. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm definitely not an expert on all things that people ask me. People ask me very specific questions about what they should do with their life, and I'm not fully informed and fully aware enough to know all answers. So just keep that in mind, but without further ado, one of the first questions I have here is, where do I find marine biology internship information? So of course I'm going to be a little bit biased because I am from America, and most of the resources that I'm aware of about finding jobs and internship information is definitely going to be from America, but I do know some that are more worldwide as well. But in terms of American jobs and internships, some of the best places to go to find marine biology related jobs and internships, I made a whole video about this, and I'll link that in one of the boxes above, but USA or usjobs.gov is a great place if you're interested in a job working with the government. There's actually a lot of marine related positions working with fisheries and working with different departments. Surprisingly, with marine biology, if you're interested in a more longer term kind of job. Another resource is the Texas A&M Wildlife Job Board. I'll link that in the description below. But basically, this is not just for Texas A&M students. It's a job board that's posted on by university professors and employers from all across the country. They know that a lot of people are checking this, and it's not just marine sciences, but all different kinds of wildlife jobs. And people are constantly posting on it all the time, and some really cool, really unique positions are always popping up there. So that's another really cool, a really great place to find jobs in America and internships and volunteer opportunities in America. Another one is the ESA Ecolog listserv. So this is a email list where you can add your email and have different opportunities sent to you. And these aren't necessarily limited to America, but this is the Ecological Society of America posting them, so they're a little bit more focused on America. But all kinds of ecology related positions and internships and opportunities there. Something a bit more worldwide for internship and job information is Coralist. This is probably the best resource out there for finding different opportunities related to the ocean. So this is a listserv, so an email that goes out, I think you can have it daily, for all kinds of people post on it from around the world for different things related to marine biology. So it could be job postings, it could be a really interesting paper that's going around, it could just be conversations that people are going and debating on, or it could also be scholarships to be aware of or conferences coming up. There's literally everything to be in the know of marine biology. This is where some of the biggest conversations occurring now happen related to marine biology. Another great place to check for internship information, that's another worldwide kind of thing, is local aquariums. So if you're interested in getting more involved with anything marine conservation or marine biology, one of the best places to go to begin is your local aquarium or an NGO that's doing some work with the marine environment. There's usually some opportunity to start getting involved with them through volunteer opportunities or internships and maybe jobs, but jobs are a little bit harder to get to if you don't have much experience there. Okay, that was a lot for question 1, but lots of important, great information there. Number 2, do I need to go to grad school to get a job in marine biology? The answer, in short, is no. So there's many different kinds of jobs that you can have within the world of marine biology. It doesn't just have to be a strictly marine biologist in academia. There's all kinds of different things that you can do, and not all of them require a actual degree even, much less going to grad school. An example of something that you might not even need a degree for is something like a boat technician or a fisheries technician, to where you're going and helping out with a certain fishery, or with, like in Florida, for instance, the FWC has fisheries technicians that are monitoring fish and making sure that the fish are doing okay in a specific ecosystem. You don't even really need a degree for that. Other types of positions where you don't need a grad school degree is something like the nonprofit I'm currently working at, where you really only need a bachelor's and a background in marine biology to start having some experience and understanding of the environment that we are conserving and trying to protect and explain to people. To have a more formal type of marine biologist job, it might be a better idea to get grad school experience, because if you're trying to really dive into a science type of position, it's really valuable to have lots of research experience yourself, and some of the best ways to get that experience is through grad school. I thought there was a bug on my ankle. But anyway, you don't have to go to grad school to get all the jobs in marine biology. There's definitely some that exist outside of grad school. All right, so number 3 is, do you recommend any books for marine biology? Now, I don't have any specific books that I have read personally, but I personally, if you're trying to get more involved with marine biology and learn more about the field, then I personally recommend actually going and getting experience yourself before anything. I think the best way that you're going to learn about the field is actually going to be, or learning about the field of marine biology is going to be through actual direct experiences. If I find any great books, actually, if you have any recommendations for great books that you've heard of related to marine biology, please comment them comment them below, because it can help out everyone that's interested in the answer to that question. But I don't have anything specifically that I can recommend because I haven't read anything. How do you reach out to professors for grad school is the next question. So I made another whole video about this a few months ago, and everyone does this differently, and there's no single best way to do it. But, well, first, before I do anything, I do a lot of research at a specific university I'm interested in first, and look at all of the professors, and I basically see who's doing what kinds of research. And then when I find a specific professor that I really am interested in their research, I go and read a few of their publications and get a really good idea of the types of work that they do. And then when I've really started to get a good grasp on their research, I'll actually reach out to them if I'm interested in participating in one of their research projects that they have going on, or I have questions about some of the research that they're currently doing. And a really important thing for me is having a little bit of overlap with my experience and the professor. So I personally have a lot of experience with community diversity research, with benthic organisms, so I look for professors that have some experience with that, because I can create an email once I've actually done a little bit of research about what they do. I'll come up with an email basically saying, hey, I really love what you do, and this is a little bit about what I've done. Here's some of the work that I've done. Are you interested in talking more? I'll usually ask if they want to do some sort of a quick phone call. Professors are very time restricted, so anything indicating that the commitment is going to be brief is really important to them. So I always say to you, would you be able to have like a 15-minute phone call, just a quick phone call? Or I ask them a specific question about their research just to keep the conversation going. Professors don't have much time to read through emails. They get many a day. So I try to basically show them that I'm extremely interested in what they're doing, and I also try to give them a little indication that I can benefit them as well, because that's important to them when they don't really have much time. Okay, the next question is, isn't MSc, a Master of Science, enough for a job in marine biology? This is similar to a previous question, but it definitely depends on what you want to do. If you're intending to go into academia, having a master's is usually not enough for getting a job as an actual marine biologist in academia. You really should have a PhD. If you're trying to become a professor or work at a university, it's going to be very useful to have that very specialized experience and a lot of experience working with grants and how to get money and all of that. But that being said, if you're looking for a job at an NGO or looking for a job at a private organization, it actually can limit you in finding a job if you have a PhD, because at many organizations, they don't necessarily need the expertise and all of the specialized experience of someone with a PhD. Especially at smaller organizations, there's also an expectation to pay someone with a PhD a lot more than someone with a master's. So if they don't really need someone with a PhD and they don't have the means to pay them that much more, then they're probably going to go with someone with a master's. So yes, a master or an MSc can be enough definitely for a job in marine biology, especially for the private and nonprofit sectors. In academia, it's probably a better idea to get a PhD. This is all from my experience and all the people I've talked to at all the conferences I've gone to, all the professors I've interacted with. This is just what I've learned. Whew. A little hot here. I don't know if you can see me sweating, but I'm definitely sweating a lot with no AC right now. The next question on here is, do I need to be good at math and science to be in the field of marine biology? So I think if you're in the world of marine biology, that it's pretty important to have a great understanding of science and a great respect for science. I think that if you're trying to communicate, especially if you're trying to communicate things that are happening in marine biology or in the ocean to the general public or to other people, it's going to be important to have an understanding of the actual biology of the ecosystem and ecology of the ecosystem, and a lot about the actual life there. I think that's definitely important, but you don't necessarily have to be like a hardcore scientist to be in the field of marine biology and marine conservation. You can be doing things like marketing for an organization that is marine focused, or you could be doing something like community outreach where you don't necessarily have to be an actual scientist, but you do need to have a lot of familiarity with the ecosystem that you're talking about. So science is definitely extremely important, but I don't know if math is extremely important. For most degrees in marine biology or related to marine biology in the ocean, you don't have to be amazing at math. I personally had to take up to calculus and then I was done, but the only math I've really had to use since then in practicing different types of positions in marine biology has been statistics. That's definitely been a very important course and type of math to understand in the field of marine biology. Other types of math you don't need to be using as much. So if you're not great at math, don't freak out about not being able to thrive in this career path, because you definitely can, but you might have to survive through a few basic math classes to actually get to the point of getting a degree related to marine science. Okay, so the next question on here is, do you have to have a PhD to get the good jobs in marine biology? This is another question that has popped up, and I have also touched on this, but you don't need a PhD to get a great job in marine biology. Definitely not. And like I said before, it can even limit you in your options. Even some jobs that are pretty great and pretty high paying, like with the government and with the private sector, you only need a master's for. You definitely don't need a PhD to get a great job in marine biology. If you want to be a hardcore scientist, then you'll definitely need a PhD for the best jobs as a hard scientist, but everything else, you don't really need a PhD that badly. In my experience. This is all in my experience. So what kinds of marine biology jobs spend the most time in the field? This is probably everyone's favorite question and one of the largest questions that I've been getting a lot on my channel. And so I mean, I can definitely relate and understand to why people have this question. And so I've created a little list of things that I have experienced or talked to in the past few years of my life of people that are involved in marine biology that are very often in the field. So let's see. So one example of a job in marine biology that's very heavily involved in the field is a job at an organization like the one that I'm currently at. So this is at a small NGO that works along a coastal community or works along a coastline. So the way that our organization runs is we have an internship program where people pay for the internship, and that is where the income comes in, and the staff members are basically teaching these interns all about the ecosystem that we are closest to. And so we are taught how to identify everything on the reef, and then we are taken out to the reef to learn how to identify everything and also experience all the problems and learn about all the problems that the reefs here experience. So the staff members of the NGO that I'm working at, and I would imagine at many other NGOs similar to this kind of organization, get to dive basically like every other day and get to also have a paying job, not a super high paying job, but a paying job where they're getting to go into the field all the time and teach others about the environment. Another example of a kind of marine related career is a dive master or a dive instructor. These people are not necessarily in the, I guess I would say they're in the marine conservation industry because they are still teaching people about the ocean and the environment, just a little bit less formally. But they're obviously getting to dive all the time and be in the field all the time. A dive master and dive instructor is not necessarily like a formal, like someone that's super integrated with the marine biology world, but they do play a huge role in marine conservation, in inspiring people every single day to care about the ocean, and they can have their own way of influencing people with marine conservation. And you can also have an opportunity to work with a lot of marine conservation organizations and a lot of different really cool research and really cool projects directly with the ecosystem, because you're always going to be in it, you're always going to be around it. So those are two positions that are obviously going to be in the field all the time. Another type of position that's going to be in the field a little bit less, but you will have opportunities to be in the field a decent amount of the time, is either a research assistant or a professor working at a university. Now, professors and research assistants aren't in the field all the time because they are in charge of a lot of other things that require a lot of computer work and office work. Okay, my camera did die and I'm now sweating profusely, but I was explaining about research assistants and professors. So basically, research assistants and professors are going to have a really decent amount of time that they are going to be able to spend in marine ecosystems because a lot of their work is going to be understanding it. So professors and research assistants they're not going to be in the field all the time because they're going to have a lot of time that they need to process the actual data that they're collecting. But professors can spend weeks at a time up out at sea or in their research sites processing data and collecting data, and same with research assistants. Research assistants might be in the field more often than professors because they're more often collecting the data, but these two types of positions do get a decent amount of time in the field. Another type of position that I have had a little bit of experience with that has a decent amount of experience in the field is a dive safety officer. So a dive safety officer is in charge of the diving operations of a university or a research facility, and they aren't necessarily doing research themselves and in charge or directly involved in marine conservation, but they are playing a huge role in making sure that they go smoothly. And they'll also have a decent opportunity to help out with just different research projects. The dive safety officer that I worked under while I was in university, I was an intern under one, and he had opportunities to go to Maria, and he went all over the world getting to dive with different professors on different research projects because he was the main supportive diver for many different professors. So he did have opportunities to be in the field in a lot of different very cool places, but he wasn't necessarily directly involved with all of the parts of each project or much of the other parts of marine conservation of each project, but got to be in the field a lot. Okay, so the next question that I wanted to talk about is the one that I also get a lot, and that is where I went to school and what I actually studied. So I made a whole video about this explaining my experience in undergrad. I went to Florida State University, and my majors were biology and environment and society. I was, during my time at FSU, I basically focused as much as I could on marine biology and worked with a lot of professors that were marine biologists too. So I kind of created my own marine biology experience, but I was able to participate in a lot of different research projects there and a lot of very cool research at Florida State University. Something I did want to add about this is that no matter where you go and no matter what you end up studying, don't stress too much about the specific degree, because honestly, during your undergraduate experience, you can create a resume or a portfolio of experiences yourself, and you can always, I don't know, make it your own. You can always pivot where you want to go, because I don't know. What I've learned post-grad is that I could have gone to, I don't know, many different schools, and it was the reason I got so much out of Florida State and marine biology wise was because I specifically reached out to professors and seeked out opportunities related to marine biology as much as I could while I was there, and I was able to form really great relationships with the professors that I did come into contact with. So there's many different schools that you could do this at, and there's many different degrees that could get you very great experience, but don't stress too much about exactly where it is and exactly what the degree is, because you can always take it, you can always get a lot out of it based on your motivations and what you yourself try to get involved in while you're there. Next question is, how competitive are jobs in the US for foreigners? This is a unique question that I've been getting, and I don't have a lot of experience with an answer with this, but I would say it really depends on what sector that you're trying to get a job in, and it also depends a lot on your background. At universities, there are decent opportunities to get involved with professors if you actually apply to grad programs. I would say if you get an American education, if you end up going to undergrad or grad school here, that ends up being a good foot in the door for many opportunities in America. But as far as graduating and coming to the US to find jobs, I would say that would be a lot more challenging, but I honestly don't have a whole lot of experience with it. So there's not too much that I can add to that one. So another question that I have recently got is, are there any jobs that you can work with sharks specifically? And I found some cool examples of shark focused kinds of jobs that I have a little bit of experience with. So I guess I might as well share those because everyone thinks sharks are cool. If you're not, then are you even in marine biology? Okay, so one example that I found working specifically with sharks is an NGO that specializes in shark research. So there are two that I can specifically think of, and one is the South African Shark Conservancy located in South Africa. And this NGO is smaller and does a lot of research with great white sharks and all kinds of smaller species of sharks along the coast. So a job working in an organization like that would give you lots of opportunity to participate in research and activities directly related to sharks at an NGO. Another one is the Shark Research Lab in Bimini. So the Bimini Shark Lab is pretty renowned for its shark research and attracts shark researchers from all over the world. Working as a research assistant at a facility like this would give you lots of opportunity to work with sharks. I just imagine that it would be quite competitive to get there. Another example of a job that you could work with sharks is a research assistant in a shark-focused lab. So at my university, there was a shark-focused lab, and working as a research assistant in that lab, you would be able to participate in all the projects that that professor has going on. So this comes with some caveats because there's not always funding available for paid positions to do this kind of thing. But so it's kind of hard to come by positions like that, but working with a professor would give you that kind of access. Another job that works with sharks is a professor doing actual shark research. So if you are extremely dedicated to understanding sharks and you love shark science, then I would recommend getting a master's or PhD in shark-related topics and pursuing becoming a professor in that related field, because you'd be able to do everything that you could ever dream of working with sharks because you would be creating that research yourself. Another job working with sharks is a dive master or instructor at a dive shop that does shark dives specifically. So this is a little controversial because chumming the water is not great for the environment and the natural behaviors of sharks. You're definitely influencing them to break their natural routine, although this job definitely does exist to where you are diving and guiding divers with a lot of sharks around all the time. Sounds extremely dangerous and that's something that I wouldn't personally want to be involved in, but it is a job that exists. Okay, so next question is options for marine biology online education. So I also made a video about this, but it is difficult to get involved in marine biology strictly online, but some things that I would recommend for people trying to get their foot in the door with the field is one, YouTube. There are millions of videos out there that can really help you start gaining an idea of the right direction to go, and one of those resources on YouTube is me. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, I did make a video about online opportunities, and a really cool resource that I found is called Zooniverse. And Zooniverse gives you the opportunity to participate in some ongoing research projects, and some of them are ocean related. So if you really wanted to get some actual concrete experience working with some real research projects, you can actually participate in them yourself and gain identification skills, gain different types of research skills by going out and filling in each of these projects yourself. It will walk you through how to input the data and how to process the data, And it honestly is very valid research experience to do this because it's actually teaching you how to process the data. So you could literally put something like that on your resume and it would be valuable to a professor seeing that, or anyone in marine biology, knowing that you've spent many hours mastering this skill of inputting data. Another opportunity for online education for marine biology is through Coralist and Ecolog. So I mentioned this earlier, but Coralist and Ecolog have different webinars and different opportunities that they'll post for online education. So you just have to keep an eye out when they actually pop up. Last question. I know this video is getting very long, so thank you for sticking with me if you're actually still here. But is it too late to get involved in marine biology? So I don't think so, honestly, really ever. If there's anything that I've learned about pursuing careers and life in general, it's that you can pivot at any point in your life to move towards any different career that you want. If you have a ton of experience in accounting, or you have a ton of experience in marketing, surprisingly, there are many jobs in marine biology and marine conservation that require those skills that not many people that started in marine biology have. There's a lot of jobs at nonprofit and private sector and US or government positions that actually require someone to have experience with these unique things that many people that originally wanted to study marine biology have. So I think at any point in your life you can take a turn towards marine biology and ocean related jobs because there's so many different types of jobs that exist related to it. And honestly, I'm working with some people now that have basically given up their 9-to-5 and come here to Utila to become a dive master or dive instructor at the ages of like 40 and 50. So it's never too late to get involved. Okay, so very, very long video. I did not expect to talk this long, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you benefited from some of the information in this video, and sorry I'm super sweaty and the lighting is terrible right now, but I hope you benefited. I'm going to end the video now because I'm talking so much, but thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.